Thank you for watching, wherever you are in the world. Thank you for taking the time. My name is Bird. Welcome to my third episode, right? Third episode of Financial Independence, Retire Early, South Africa. F.I.R.E. I add the South Africa there because that's where I live and work. That's where I was born and bred. I'm probably going to retire to like Tanzania or like Ghana, or like Mozambique or something. But because I live and work in South Africa, that's the context that I'm using, to become financially independent, right, for the purpose of retiring early. Yes, financial independence, I believe, requires a lot of financial literacy. Whether that's learning how to drop a budget, how to save, how to invest, where to invest, what are stocks, what's the stock market, what are bonds, how to start a business, how to run a business, how to scale, how to participate in the property market. There's just a lot of learning that needs to happen before you reach financial independence, or whether for you to be financially literate, it requires a lot of learning. Hence, I'm doing another book today. It's called NomaYini, written by Banele Rewo. I don't know if you can see the name at the bottom, but you can see the name at the top, right? The name of the book. It's called NomaYini. The mentality you need before you start any business. That's what he says. And, I believe that this book is very relevant, for a lot of Black people on this continent of Africa to be reading this book. Because I think that this book is, NomaYini. So NomaYini is a word that comes from Nguni, which means anything. Nguni is Xhosa, Swati, Ndebele, Zulu. So some Tonga people can be called Nguni, but I digress. The word means anything. So the word became part of our popular colloquial culture when I'll call them heroin addicts. We call them nyape boys, nyape men, some of them, nyape women, nyape girls even, but people who are addicted to heroin and they work as car guards. So a car guard is somebody where when you park in a public parking lot, right, they ask to look after your car for you when you do whatever you do. By the time you come back, they're like, yo, man, may I have anything? Basically they're saying, pay me for my service, but they come across as if they're asking and begging, right? So NomaYini, anything, they ask for a slice of bread, leftovers from your meal, 1 rand, man, anything you can give them, anything you can give them. That's where the NomaYini phrase comes from, to be part of popularizing our culture. Like I said, I believe that this book is everything that it says it is. This book, a business strategy, right? NomaYini, a business strategy and self-help book written for young Black men and women, I believe, predominantly from the townships and the rural areas, I believe, with entrepreneurial mindsets or the aspirations to have one. The book attempts to, and succeeds, honestly, in more ways than one, to speak directly to the psychological, mental, emotional, financial, and environmental realities of the above-mentioned people, young Black men and women from the ghetto, from the townships, from the villages, from the rural areas, who are trying to make something for themselves, who are trying to make something out of themselves, He uses original South African language, tone, and flow, and I think the author does this with a witty honesty, and that is not necessarily intended to sugarcoat the truth, but I think his witty honesty just makes him deliver the truth or bear out in a way that is very intuitive, and it comes across as if he knows exactly what he's talking about from personal experience. That's the feeling I get when I read this book. I feel like this guy knows exactly what he's talking about because he's lived through it, I'm going to read my favorite excerpt from the book. It says, denying that you are in a hole deepens the darkness. Fighting to get out by shortcuts, excuses, and blame will exhaust you. The one and only way to get out of this is to first accept that you are in a hole. Accept that you were happier in the past, but that is gone, so let it go. Accept that you were happier in the future, but you're not there yet, so work towards it, but let yourself collapse. Feel the pain of acceptance. Whatever circumstance you're dealing with now, whether you brought upon yourself or not, just accept it. Let people talk about how you had potential, but you're now a failure. Allow yourself to let go of the image that you had of yourself too. That is not your present reality. Acknowledge that some people are doing better than you, even though you believe you might be more talented or more deserving of the success. Allow yourself to accept that you do not have the financial and other types of support and backing that some people are getting. So let yourself loose on the people that smile when you smile. He says, let go of self-imposed responsibilities and ridiculous world standards. Be naked and have nothing. Falling deep into a hole and hitting rock bottom is hard as fuck. Falling deep into a hole and hitting rock bottom is hard as fuck. So when you hit rock bottom, it will be the most painful experience that you feel, and it will demand self-introspection and self-correcting that is as excruciating as an exorcism. And while you're at rock bottom, you will realize that the pain subsides from all these loosened burdens now that, you know, nothing is weighing you down. You have nothing to worry about anymore because you have lived through the worst. Your hands, your body, your brain and mind are free to do whatever you want to do. And you're free to become whoever you want to become because no one cares about you anymore. They wrote you off. They don't even see what you're doing. So you're free to be yourself now. So then something happens. You realize that rock bottom is hard for a reason, because this is where you are free to build the foundation of the structure that will become your goals, your career, your legacy, your stature, your house, anything. You get that? Yeah, man. Look, I love it. I love it. I mean, I'll say that, you know, and there are a lot of examples in this book, right? A lot of people that are like about 6 degrees of separation away from the rest of us, you know, but these are people that I feel he knows and maybe works with personally, and he references them. I'll give you an example, somebody like Letabo Mokoena of Walk Fresh. This guy started a sneaker cleaning company, a sneaker cleaning business with like 700 rands. It's like $60. Or is it 6? But do the math. 700 rands now has 3 stores, you know, and manufactures their own sneaker cleaning products in about 5 years. You know, he references Letabo because Letabo started from the bottom with nothing. Letabo comes from the ghetto, you know, and works with people who are probably even former addicts too. You know what I'm saying? People from the ghetto who had nothing have nothing. So, you know, Letabo is a perfect example. You know, and people like us who are readers, we begin to see through the author's eyes. We get to understand, you know, the complex and obscure observations and experiences and nuances of what it really means and what it takes to actually start from the bottom, you know. And he says this book is a guide, right? And I believe that as a guide, this book must be read and reread on different parts of your life journey. You know, life is like a game of snakes and ladders, or shoots and ladders, as some people, I don't know what you call it in your country. It's a dice game with snakes and ladders on the board, and you go up the ladders and you come back down when you're bitten by snakes. You know what I'm saying? I believe that this book should be read on every part of your journey, every obstacle you hit. Every time you climb up a ladder, you need to be reading this book. Every time a snake bites you back down, you need to be reading this book. You know, because this book will help you kind of navigate yourself through personal and interpersonal success. You know, whether it's the corporate world, whether you're starting a business, I think this book will help you navigate personal and interpersonal success coming from nothing. I'll give you a total bias disclaimer. You know, I'm an entrepreneur. I said, you know, young black male from the villages, you know, who started with nothing, and who has hit rock bottom before. Like I was forced into homelessness when I was forced to also drop out of Wits University Medical School. You know, I was forced into homelessness and I had nothing. I lived on the streets and I started, you know, what I am now with like 2 cigarettes, bro. You might not believe this. I had 2 cigarettes. I went to a train station with 2 cigarettes. By the end of the second day, I had a box of cigarettes, right? A 20 pack. By the end of 4 weeks, I could pay rent and I could move into a room. You know what I'm saying? Started from the bottom with nothing but 2 cigarettes. Crazy. You know, so I'm biased because I know what it's like to be at the bottom with nothing. You know what I'm saying? And this book does speak to it very well, like the excerpt that I read. You know, there are other examples that it gives, not necessarily of hitting rock bottom, but just of starting from the bottom. You know, yeah, man, I've built myself up, so I know how valuable this information is and understand the context and information of this book, you know, maybe more than most. But I don't think that this book is only for people that have hit rock bottom or who are fighting drug and alcohol addiction or abuse or anything like that. I think this book is for any regular Tabo, Mkhadi, whatever you call yourself, you know. If you're trying to make something out of yourself, I think this book is relevant for you. And it might be even more important for you to read this book before you hit rock bottom. You know what I'm saying? This book might be more valuable to you before you hit rock bottom than to someone like me after we've hit rock bottom and we're pulling ourselves up. But the point is, if you are at rock bottom, then definitely you should be reading this book, you know, and this book could help you start, you know, it can help you, you know, teach how to talk to your friends who you think might not have ambition and you kind of like separating from them, or friends that you want to take on this journey with. You know, it'll help you speak to like man, these are older people that you want to be your mentors, or you want them to help you out in your corporate world. You know, it'll teach you how to approach them, you know, because you come from the ghetto, you come from the villages, you might not know how to navigate and interact with people who have, you know, been working in corporate for a few years. So it'll help you talk to them so that you can, you know, ask them for help, advice, or whatever that you might need. And this book will try and show you how to change your behavior and attitude for more deliberate attempts at upward social mobility. You know, so like I said, it's probably more relevant to you before you hit rock bottom. It is the quintessential guide for the South African, and I believe the African, who is starting from the shack, that rendezvous, the back room, the RDP. Man, look, wherever you're from the corner, this book is for you. All the way to the penthouse and the corner office. You know, all the way to the beach house and the corner office. He says, what does he say here? Yeah. From the corner to the corner office, man. You know, from the corner to the corner office. That's his book. Please get it. NomaYini by Banele Rewo. This book is a really, really, really good book, a really important book for young Black people in this country and in this continent who are trying to make something out of yourself. And I believe that, with this book and other books, you will understand the context, the nuances, the unsaid truths about what it really takes, to get to the top, starting from nothing as a young Black person, on this continent, but more specifically in this country called South Africa. Yeah, man, NomaYini. It's a great book. I think everybody should get it. Again, thank you for watching my video. I hope you get this book. And I hope that this book helps you like it's been helping me on my journey to financial independence for the sole purpose of retiring early.